Is it worth your time? And does this game good or is it a crime? Is it worth the time or your free time?
Is it worth your time? Eterspire. Now, this right here is more so a opinion little post here, if you will, or a bit of a Dan Van Dam and Friends podcast vibe to this game, because I'd rather talk about it without too many jump cuts, none of that editing craziness, and just go right into the meat and potatoes of this game, kind of go over what I can remember off the top of my head, as well as simply talk about this honestly really charming game here. Now, with Eterspire, it's honestly one of those games that is a free-to-play. It has a lot of potential. By a lot of potential, I mean a ton of potential. Once the developers can really crank out some stuff into the game, put in some quality of life, take some feedback from the community, as I'm assuming they already have already by the time I blurb this out, it can honestly turn into one of those awesome games that are quirky. While it may not be a huge success overnight, it can be something really good along the way. Now, the game itself has been in development for close to 3 years, with some change on top of that. Now, I've just discovered the game through Steam, and I was like, okay, what's this about? And as soon as I saw it was an action RPG, it was free to play, and it looked pretty nice to me, I was like, sure, why not? Let's just dive into this and try it out. So the game gives you a fair amount of customization. It allows you to go into said game and just kind of build this character almost to the dimensions of how you would want a character to be, and allow you to kind of immerse yourself into making a avatar that you can feel either proud of or something that you can just simply go, okay, this character looks good enough, let's get into it. So with that said, you have 4 classes so far to start off with, and 1 extra coming out pretty soon from the recording time of this said video, which is going to be the Archer. So you have a choice between a Sorcerer, Warrior, Guardian, or the Rogue, which honestly I didn't really play too much with the Rogue. Girlfriend said it was actually not too bad, but as soon as she started playing Sorcerer, she said, the hell with this other class, that can go stay over there. So there's your answer right there towards that one. So other than that, I honestly found myself playing a lot with the Warrior. I thought the Warrior class was incredibly fun. Then I started to play around the Sorcerer, and I was like, holy shit, now I see why she really likes the Sorcerer. Even though I played the Sorcerer beforehand, it was just a really powerful class. It feels really awesome, but then late game, you can kind of feel the tightness of the glass cannon vibe to the whole class, which is not bad if you have a party to go along with, but if you're playing solo, it's a make or break for you. Hopefully you can get some good gear rollouts with the game as you run through, but that's just it. The game itself plays a lot like Diablo in the front of loot. Now, stats are pretty simple. There's nothing too complicated about them either. And higher stats the better is pretty much what this game is like. So think Borderlands as well if you want another example of what I'm even talking about. Now, this game, when I said before, it does have potential, it honestly and genuinely really does. I have a lot of hopes behind this game and hope it does very well, because myself personally, I hope it does well and succeeds. It offers these 4 classes that, to me personally, all have their nice quirks and charms. The Guardian feels like more of like a cleric class, and honestly does have huge survivability to it, as well as a huge hefty defense amount to it. With the Warrior, of course, being its counterpart, which it does a nice amount of damage. Now, obviously, the Warrior is not going to even compare to the Sorcerer late game, but Warrior is pretty fun to play. And again, the Rogue sits at base and eats donut. Just teasing. There's probably a main Rogue player out there who really enjoys that class, and I'm giving them hell for no reason. But otherwise, it's all subjective, I think. So, I delved into the game and played it for quite some time. Me and my girlfriend eventually started talking about the said game and found ourselves really enjoying it so much we wanted to support it. So I got herself, along with myself, a Infinite Pass, which is just a one-time fee, which was $30, and with that, you of course can have access to more storage space, a mount, just some cash or some in-game cash to be able to get some cosmetics just to make yourself look pretty or nice or whatever. And there's like these little incentives here and there for the future development of the game, which I personally do not mind putting money inside the game, as well as just simply playing it and enjoying it. It offers the elements of games I remember, and honestly, I'd rather support something that feels like it's going to be something fantastic as time goes through. Now, the game itself is cross-platform. You could play it on PC, you could play it on mobile. It is an action RPG, as I was mentioning before about the whole Diablo vibe. It's basically loot-based off of your own character, and if you're playing with other players, it's instant-based unless you're doing a trial, which is a little dungeon event thingy, which you just beat a bunch of monsters and then you get some loot at the end or so, and yada 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 with that. Beyond that, beyond Two Souls, but beyond that though, it does offer some pretty satisfying elements of story as well. The story I felt was pretty quirky and fun. I'm not going to talk too much and spoil too much about said story. It's something that I'll just say it has a quirky vibe to it, which is honestly very, very pleasant and enjoyable. It doesn't even take itself remotely serious whatsoever, and the storytelling is top-notch. It's not something you're going to see like out of like a Guild Wars 2 for cinema or Final Fantasy 14 for cinema, but it's still something that suffices pretty darn well for a free-to-play. It has a very, very, very out-to-lunch style of humor to it, and it doesn't take itself remotely serious whatsoever, like I mentioned. So, is it worth your time? Yeah, absolutely. This one's an easy yes because it's something that you can dive into. It has so many options in terms of customization for your character to look different or unique or whatever. It offers 4 classes so far that are all free to play and just use. While there is some heinous elements there, which is not a huge deal, that your inventory space is going to fill up relatively quick, so you have to keep running back to town. Along with the travel system, which is based off of orbs. If you want to quick travel to certain spots, you have to use an orb. And unless you have the infinite thing, you will not be able to farm those said orbs unless you run around the wild and find little glowy spots which can give you said, travel orbs, which is not going to be as fruitful as you think it would be. So, subjectively said, yeah, I would say personally, if you end up really enjoying the game, just support the game just by either investing into $20 or $30. It's honestly, to me so far, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth with the said game because me and my girlfriend can kind of sit down and play together, and we seemingly have a ball. And we're looking forward to what else the developers can turn out with said game. But for now, take care. Hopefully, this inspired your mind into whether you want to play the game or not. But take care.